Good morning and welcome to Herron Solutions Podcast, Episode 7. Today we'll be talking about the new drop-in centers, which are located here in Belen and also in Los Lunas. And also we'll be talking and touching up a little bit on the transitional living here with Herron Solutions. Today we are joined with Joshua and Samantha Williams. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, guys. Thank you for being here. We want you to give us some background and let us know what's going on with these drop-in centers and these projects that you guys are working on.
Well, to talk about the drop-in centers, I think we first need to talk about immediate need and immediate services. A lot of the times the populations we serve, people in active addiction, people that are unhoused, there's so many different populations that a drop-in center serves. But, when you seek resources, most of the time, you have to set up an appointment. You have to call in and jump through these hoops, which makes sense. But that's what these drop-in centers, we fill that gap. You can walk in the door at any point in time. Hello, how are you? What can we support you in doing today? And I think it's really, really an important key component of people getting their lives back, jumping those hurdles. And it doesn't have to be such a dramatic situation such as being unhoused or being in active addiction. It could be a driver's license. It could be, I'm looking for work, I need help with a resume. It could be a lot of different things.
So how do people So how do people actually find you guys? Like how do they find you guys, like through different agencies, or how do people know where you guys are at and where you're located and what services you guys provide?
Mondays and Wednesdays we'll be here in Belen at 610 Becker, and we will be here from 8 to 5. On Tuesdays and Thursdays we'll be in Los Lunas at 335 Courthouse Road from 8 to 5. If you're interested or need any resources, you're more than welcome to come, and Joshua, myself, and some other coworkers will be here to assist and support you.
And so with the drop-in center, you said these are kind of people can just walk in. Do they have to have certain type of insurance? What does that look like?
By walk-ins, we mean walk-in. You walk in as you are. If you have insurance, that's great. If you don't have insurance, that's fine too. We have CPSWs, we have CSWs that are here to support you in what you need to do. If you don't have insurance, one of our CSWs can assist you in getting insurance. And when I say CPSWs, our focal point, loosely, is people struggling in active addiction and substance use disorder. So we need to talk about isolation. A lot of people know that the main idea that people have is that connection is the opposite to addiction. And isolation isn't just not being around people or being by yourself or sliding off into the distance. There's mental isolation. There's emotional isolation. And this space has people with lived experience in recovery from many things, not just substance use. There's mental illness, there's domestic violence, there's so many different things to recover from. And so this is a safe place. If you have nothing you want to work on, you can come here and have a conversation. We can talk, we can have coffee. If a person is unhoused, we have resources for that. We have survival kits, we have snacks, we have hygiene. Like I said, you can work with the CSW and start working towards housing, towards employment.
What if somebody walks in and they're not eligible for insurance and maybe they don't know how to read, for an example? What would somebody in that situation, what kind of services might they be able to receive here?
Definitely, we will support them by reading, say it's mail, reading anything that they need to read, we can read to them. And I feel like if you're not eligible for Medicaid, we're still here. I feel like that's very important to be able to support and uplift everyone, regardless if they have Medicaid or any type of insurance or not.
So where did the thought of this come from? Where did this drop-in center thought come from?
This is a subject that's really close to my heart. Years ago, when I was struggling in my addiction, I was unhoused. There was resources for me to connect with, but in the condition I was in, I couldn't connect or identify with the typical resources. Then I'd have to set an appointment. Then I'd have to go back 2 days, a week later, whatever it may look like. And by then, because of my lifestyle choices, I was off in the wind doing who knows what else. I'm not blaming my past circumstances on any agency, but in my heart and even working what I've been doing, seeing the different gaps that are there, the idea was hatched between us, of course, and we're always trying to figure out what the gaps are, identify them, and close them. And I believe within my heart that with these doors to these drop-in centers being open, we're alleviating that red tape. Like I said before, that immediate need can be immediately addressed without the struggle, without the separation, with the absolute connection with people with lived experience that can say, I understand what you're going through, and you can connect with them and see that there's no judgment. If you're unhoused and you come to me and we have a conversation, you're going to feel some embarrassment, maybe a little bit of guilt, maybe a little bit of shame, depending on the situation that you went through to become unhoused. But through our conversation, if you and I have a conversation and you know that I was unhoused as well because of my poor choices, now we're on an equal playing field. Now there's no judgment, there's no shame. And we can together get on top of the thing that needs to be taken care of instead of having to sift through or dig through the many layers of guilt and shame.
Can you walk us through just the process of someone coming through those doors? Of what would they expect to see, to hear, to come in contact with, or would they come in contact with you or with another employee, or how does it all work when someone walks through those doors? What's the first thing would they encounter? You know, what would they experience when they're walking through those doors?
That's a really good question. When an individual walks through our doors, they're going to be greeted almost like if you walk into the doors of a resort. Hey, how are you? I'm so-and-so. What is your name? And it's just going to be a interaction. You're the most important person in the room. Come on in. How are you feeling? You want to have a seat? Are you thirsty? You want some coffee? You want some water? Want a snack? Conversation. We're just making the connection. We want to know you. We want to get to know you. We want to support you. And we want to come around and surround you with love and lift you up. And the only way to do that is for you to get to know who I am and for me to get to know who you are.
So as Jerry was asking, as they come through the door and you sit down, you have those conversations with them, and people are getting comfortable. Now they're learning, some things that they might want to start working on. And you said that they could start working on those things right away. As you see that happening, what do you see changing in our community?
In this community here in Belen, I see healing. I see understanding, compassion. If you go and get in your car in Belen and drive down the street, depending on the time of day, you'll see a lot of people in need, a lot of people hopeless. And I'm not just looking at a situation and making assumptions. I stop. Anyone I run into contact with going inside of a store, doesn't matter if they have a suit on, rags on, we're having a conversation about the weather or how about those Dodgers, whatever it may be. And so I've run into a lot of people and through conversation have seen a lot of hopelessness And from what I've seen so far is self-esteem is very important. And how we build self-esteem is by doing esteemable things. And as you create goals and discover what's important to you in your life and achieve those goals, your esteem rises. You think better of yourself. And if you're a human being, you have family, some sort of family. And as you think better of yourself, they think better of you as well. And as you build yourself up and learn how to take care of yourself properly, then you're able to take care of your family properly. Then that's going to expand into your neighborhood. Then that's going to expand into your whole community. People will be able to work. And if they're unable to work, they'll be able to collect their benefits until they are able to work. I see this changing a lot of things as far as how a community works with taxes and people in and out of the system, all those kinds of things. If a person has direction and has a goal and can feel and see their purpose, the world opens up for them and it opens up for all of us, for the better. And that's what we're doing here. That's why we're here. People can come in here and they can fix themselves. People can come in here and, like I said, we can have a conversation, or you can come in here and we can get right to work. What's going on? Where do you see yourself at a year from now? Not to get overwhelmed with the anxiety and frustration about looking too far into the future, but people, I want a house, I want a car, I want a good job. We can backtrack from that. Okay, how did you get this job? How did you get this house? Well, if you had a job, you had to apply. You have an ID. You have a birth certificate. And so we can start from the basics and work our way forward. Now that you have the ID, Social Security card, let's start looking for jobs. And we have a computer station here in every drop-in center. We have a computer station where you can be paired with the CSW and you walk in, and we can start doing those things. Applying for jobs online, building that resume. What are you interested in doing? There's jobs and then there's a career. You want to do what you love? What do you love? And that's a really tough question when you ask somebody, what is it that you like to do? And a lot of people, what do I like to do? So we have that opportunity in this space to explore those things with our community.
So you're not only creating or trying to bring about life change in the individual, but in the community itself, correct?
Correct. And we know this from lived experience. Coming from my background and to where I'm at today, every goal that I reached improved my life. Every goal I reached improved my relationships with my family and my friends, my neighbors. I developed I guess for lack of a better term, a hierarchy of importance. What do I value? What's important to me? What's important to me is doing the right thing, integrity, taking care of business, getting that job, adopting those responsibilities. And as I did that, my family could depend upon me for easy things and for drastic things. And like you said, that's what we're doing. We're giving families their sons back, their big brothers back, their cousins, their sisters, their moms, their fathers, reminding these individuals that you do have value. You are a good son. You are a good father. You are a good mother. You're just caught up in some circumstances that shouldn't define who you are or what your value is. And that's the big thing when people walk through the door, is getting through that. Most people can attend to set goals and reach them, but it's really hard to get past the self-doubt, the lack of self-esteem, the stigma.
If somebody comes in, like you said, and they need a job and you help them fill out an application, once they fill out that application, whether it's online, is that the end, or what does something like that look like?
Definitely talk with them, see about maybe following up, supporting them, while following up, or talking with them, mimicking. I don't know if it would be mimicking, like an interview process, because some people, I know, like for me, I get very nervous talking to people. So preparing them for that interview, preparing them to follow up. And I know for me, like words of advice, I would always say, like, bug them, keep bugging them so you could get that job. Let them know that you feel interested in the job. And so, yeah.
I'd like to piggyback on that, maybe backpedal a little bit. Something that I forgot and I left out is that at both the drop-in centers, we'll be having CPSW groups. The CPSW group in Berlin will be on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. and the CPSW group in Los Lunas will be on Thursdays at 10 a.m. And what we'll attack in those groups are life skills, like Samantha mentioned, mock interviewing. Let's sit down and work through this whole thing. And what's really unique about that situation is that we've discovered it's very beneficial to switch roles, where now the individual is now the interviewer and the interviewee, so now they know what kind of questions are going to come out in the interview. And we approach all situations that way, not just the job process.
So what if somebody doesn't have something to wear to that job interview?
Well, in Las Lunas, we will be having a free store. You don't have anything to wear to a job interview? Okay, let's go to Las Lunas and see what the free store has for you. And if there's nothing there, we can try to find other resources.
So it looks like once they walk through those doors, that there's no excuse or nothing that's going to stop whatever that decision that they've made, nothing that's going to stop you in helping them to get to that goal that they want. It sounds like you're going to support them all the way through, and whether it's using your own resources or using resources outside of the drop-in center itself. What about this location? These locations, are they easy to get to? Are they walking distance in town? What do these locations look like?
So here in Belen, I feel like it's a very good area. It's off the main street here on Becker. We have the ISD office, we have the MVD, we have the health department, a lot of resources and important buildings to be around.
In Los Lunas, centrally located, it's right across from the county jail, for people that are being released. We're right around the corner from the rail runner, so that's really accessible for all communities close by.
So there's public transportation.
Yes.
Sounds like it is walkable. And just being able to know that these resources are right there it sounds like a very functional. It will help you all to be very functional in getting these tasks done on a day-to-day basis. So yeah, it sounds pretty exciting, pretty interesting. In Los Lunas, you talked about a free store, and as the drop-in center there is open in Los Lunas, what other resources are you going to have there?
In Los Lunas, at the drop-in center, we'll have IOP in-house right next door. It's one building. It's a really great resource for people struggling to get out of addiction. They're able to get into that IOP, intense outpatient program. That's there. Here in Berlin, we're right next to our main office, so there's still access to IOP if you qualify. And that's definitely something we can talk about and address during your introduction to us at the drop-in center.
So what would you tell someone if they're watching this podcast or come across this podcast and they see the services that you are providing in these locations and they're on the fence, they're contemplating, should I go, should I not go? what words would you give them to maybe, you know, let them know they are valued and they do have self-worth?
I would say if someone, like you said, was on the fence, I would say just come in. This is a judge-free zone. We're here to uplift you. We're here to support you. We're here to help you find resources. We're here to just be here. It doesn't matter, you know, what position you're in. It doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter about any of that. We're just here. We're here. Come on down.
I believe if you're on the fence, that's fine. You can stay on the fence. Just come down here and hang out with us. Have a conversation. Let's talk about things. We don't have to talk about addiction. We don't have to talk about the pain you're in. We don't have to talk about the loneliness you feel. We can talk about the sky. We can talk about football. We can drink some coffee, go for a walk. Just come down, learn about what we have. Maybe you can use it now, maybe you can use it in the future. Safe place. Come join us.
There's also another component you haven't shared yet about, and I know that both of you are CPSWs now, and so you all will be doing these CPSW classes, life skills, relapse prevention, but there's also a training component to these centers.
Yes, we'll also be training CSWs and also offering pre-exposure hours for upcoming CPSWs.
And what are the pre-exposure hours? What's the CPSW required to do?
We offer 40 hours of pre-exposure time so they can get signed off on their credentials to become a certified peer support worker.
And do they just have to follow you around? What is that training going to consist of?
The training we have is hands-on. You know, there's really no following us around. Come down, we're going to jump right in with both feet. We're going to jump into groups, get hands-on training, dynamic training, not blah, 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 blah. We're getting in there. We're getting into these situations and these topics. You know, there's no better way to learn than hands-on training on the spot. Kind of reminds me when I was a kid, you know, I don't know if people still do this. My dad would take me to the swimming pool. And to teach me how to swim, he just grabbed me and throw me in the deep end. Sink or swim, boy. And so that's hardly what we're doing, but similar. We're going to jump right in with both feet.
And some of these groups, what are some of the topics that you guys might be going over?
Definitely recovery, life skills, mocking job interviews. You know, some people may not know how to do grocery shopping or a budget. So like I said, life skills, recovery, cycles of addiction, cycles of relapse prevention. We have a lot of different topics for sure.
Thank you guys for sharing a little bit about those drop-in centers with us. Now turning the page over to these transitional living homes, can you tell us a little bit about what is going on there? And we heard something new coming.
So right now here in Belen, we have 2 men's transitional living, and coming soon, October 5th, we will be opening up our females house, which I'm very excited about. I've been really pushing for this. You know, I feel in my heart that men have a lot of resources when it comes to recovery, and females don't have as much. And so I feel in my heart that this is just something that I want to do, and I'm super excited for.
So what will the women's home look like? Is who can come there? What are the qualifications? How many beds are you going to have? What does that look like?
So right now in October, we will have 6 available beds. To qualify to get into these homes, this house is you're suffering from substance abuse, because they are recovery houses. So either a detox, coming straight from detox, coming straight from rehab, coming straight from being incarcerated. First and foremost, we have an interview process, an application, and then an interview process. And we through that interview process, we ask certain questions, see if you're a good fit for the house, and then we bring you home. We'll set you up with an intake with myself or Joshua, and then we will set you up with the therapist to do the therapy part. And then with these houses, we try to keep everybody busy. We have IOP, we have one-on-one therapy, we have CPSW groups. You're paired with the CSW. So 6 beds now, and then coming soon, not sure the date on the other house. So we'll have a total of 12 beds for females.
Well, that sounds pretty exciting.
We've just like we were talking about the drop-in center. A long time ago, we were doing CSW work here at Herron Solutions, and we were working from shelters and other locations, and we had a lot of individuals looking for detox. They wanted to change their lives, and so we'd walk alongside them and support them, and they achieve their goal and get to detox and get detox squared away and get out right back to the same situation. And so we talked about it and talked about it here at Herron Solutions, and like we said earlier, we're all about identifying and filling gaps. And that's how these transitional living homes came to be. And so we put our heads together, pulled from lived experience, pulled from common sense, and what we discovered was this formula for growth. Self-directed, but still growth. Where, and this is a completely 110% true statement, the people that have walked through our doors bear little to no resemblance to the guys that walk out. We're talking complete, total life change. We got guys coming to the house, waking up at crack of dawn, making coffee, brotherhood, going to the table, jumping into a recovery addiction education group with their CPSW for 2 hours, transitioning from that straight to IOP. They're sitting in their IOP with their therapist or counselor, getting into the nuts and bolts of recovery, getting into the escapism, getting into the feelings they want to escape from, getting into maladaptive techniques, maladaptive coping, bad relationships. They're getting to all those things that continually drive you deeper into your addiction. And then from there, they get to slide out of there, go back to the house. They have some lunch together. Then the CSW they're paired with, they jump out to the community. They get that birth certificate, that social security card, that driver's license, that resume, that first job. Save that money. Start to become mentors to other people. Now, recently, we've implemented a Monday night music group, which is astounding. These guys are having music group together. They're learning how to play instruments. They're doing karaoke, learning how to have fun without the use of alcohol or substances. Powerful. So they're paired with their CSW, and they're accomplishing all these goals between 1 and 5. 5 o'clock, they go back to their house. So they sit down and prepare a meal together. Family that eats together. And so after that, they, watch TV, maybe chit-chat a bit. Then right back at it, 8 o'clock, they're right back into a end of the day wrap-up group with the same CPSW, talking about their barriers of the day, the goals they've accomplished, attacking any confusion they've had about reacclimating to life without the use of substances, supporting each other in their trials and banging their heads and scraping their knees as they travel this path towards long-term sobriety. And I've been blessed to be able to see this mechanism take on a life of its own. We have guys that come back and teach our guys that are currently in the program. We have guys going to college. We have guys working high level jobs. This structure is amazing. It is amazing. And so what we're anticipating is not mimicking, but building a structure for females with Samantha's house to create the same type of sisterhood and promote recovery, promote connection, promote support networks, promote all these things that we know are necessary. And at the same time, as these guys travel through these houses and come out the other side, we're able to give them that gift of who they are. They come in, guys come in with their heads down. Oh, I'm just this. I'm just a drug user. Or my best, I'm just an addict. I'll always be an addict. And then on the other side of this program, they're aware of who they are. And so we're able to walk alongside them and give them back that truth, the truth about who they really are, the value of who they are. They are that college student. They are that CSW. They are all those things they never believed that they are. And the most beautiful thing about it is that they're able to see these truths for themselves. We don't force it, they just see it. And so that's what Herron Solutions, Transitional Living Homes, that's what they're doing. That's the other component of this amazing, alive structure we have. And like you said, the drop-in center is just another arm or another leg of this live thing that's making changes.
It's addicting. It's infectious. Seeing the life change and those things really happening on a day-to-day basis. I'm blessed to be able to sit there and talk to some of these guys, and as some of them are exiting and getting ready for those next steps, and in hopes of just continuing to grow and grow, the sky's the limit for them. And I absolutely believe exactly what you said. Now they get to see it. Now they get to feel it. Now they know it's there, and now they're there to help somebody else. They're there to help pull somebody else up so that they can see that too. So that definitely has been a huge blessing to be a part of those journeys. And Jerry, I get to hear Jerry's music Mondays and how these guys just really kind of break out of their shells and get out of their comfort zones as they just learn how to do life in a different way and not need those substances anymore like we thought we used to need them.
Yes. So tell us a little bit about your roles as the coordinators of these houses. A day in the life of Joshua and Samantha. What do you guys do on a daily basis on these houses? And how you guys interact with the guys, and eventually you guys will be interacting with the women as well. Tell us what you guys go through on a daily basis.
Typically, like the schedule, or
It's on a daily basis, from sometimes from application to interview to housing, interacting with individuals. Just let us tell us a bit about what you guys do, and I know you did tell us a bit about how the house is run, and but what is your role? What's your piece in this puzzle?
I like to think of us as the proud parents. How this usually happens is at different agencies that we've gone out and interacted with before, they'll give us a call, and we have a email or a link for an application process. What happens is interested individuals get on this link with their caseworker or whoever is their discharge planner from whatever agency they're at, and we'll get a notification, we'll get the application, we'll review it, set up an interview. Then we talk with our individuals, How are you? How are you feeling? What are your plans for the future? What does recovery look like to you? What does sobriety look like to you? Is there a difference for you? Who do you care about? What's important to you? Who is supporting you right now? Who would you like to support right now? And so we ask these questions for various reasons, which we're not going to go into all that right now. Then we gather our information and we meet with our directors/owners and we make a decision. If they're a good fit, then we contact them within 24 hours with a decision. And we're really hands-on. So if it's an approval, the day of their discharge, we're there to pick them up. We make this important because our guys are important, their lives are important, their family is important. So we're hands-on. We let them know the truth that they're individuals. They're not disposable. We're going to do just as much work as they do. We're going to work just as hard. And so once that's done, we come to the office and we do the intake process. And most people are very anxious. It's a big step to change your whole life, the way you see things, the way you think, the way you breathe, the way you walk. And so we do that process. And sometimes I do a little bit of joking around just to ease the anxiety level. But then after the intake process, we go to the houses, one of the houses with the guy, the individual, and we take them home. These houses are homes. They're not facilities. They're not, we call them transitional living houses, but this is their home. They have their bed, they have their room, they have their friends, they have their family, they have their area. The houses belong to the people in them while they're in them. And so a day in the life, once we do that part, we're in the houses. Hey, how are you feeling today? What's going on? We talk, just kind of like the drop-in center structure, we talk about very important things, and sometimes we talk about absolutely nothing, but we're still talking. We'll go for walks. Make sure, there's a lot of fine details in it that, about house supplies and all that kinds of things. We do a lot of different things, but what we do is loosely hold the mirror up to people as they walk this path. Hold that mirror up to them so they can see that, like I said before, they can see that value, that human person. Because a lot of people believe that they don't deserve this opportunity. And this is an opportunity. They don't deserve this opportunity to reclaim their lives. And a lot of individuals don't believe that there's a life to reclaim. And some of our individuals honestly never had anything to reclaim. From as long as they can remember, this is the life they knew. And so our job is to break through those barriers and those misconceptions, to break through them. And that's what we do daily. We celebrate huge wins, getting that Social Security card, woo-hoo, woo-hoo. We celebrate that driver's license. We celebrate buying that new car. We celebrate those things. And when we celebrate them, I can't even begin to describe to you, this is not even a job. It's just living, man. It's just living with our friends, our fellows, our peers. We're just living with them. And so when they do accomplish those goals and we're celebrating, we feel it from here. And so when you asked what does it look like a day in the life, being a transitional living coordinator, it's just life. And we're celebrating it and we're living it together.
I'm just picturing all those things and all these amazing things.
That's amazing to hear. I love the fact that you guys keep calling these places home, and that these individuals come to a place where they are not only cared about, but loved on and shown a different path, a different way. But how much do you think that your journey and the journey of our team makes a difference in how we care for these individuals on a day-to-day basis?
I feel like whenever I work with these individuals, coming from a background similar to them, I don't know, I just feel like my heart's all in it. I just feel like I've been there, with my background. I've been into a lot of rehab, sober livings, and I feel like I understand the struggle that they may be going through or facing. And so just being able to be there and support them through this and, remind them like, hey, I've been there. I understand, I may not know exactly what you're going through, but I've had, a similar struggle or just being able to support them and uplift them and remind them how important this is. And it's the beginning of a new journey for them. And I don't know, just makes me happy to be able to support people that are just like me. I can't be thankful enough that I have had this opportunity to be able to help people just like me.
I also think that for as far as the whole organization, there's a lot of us here with lived experience, and a lot of us here with education. And I think we've had this conversation before where, with that lived experience and that education, our views aren't clouded. Like when we see a person, we see who they are. We don't see their behaviors. Where people get caught up over the acts, like robbing money from their mother's purse or shoplifting, all those things that people, ugh. When we hear that, we're just like, okay, what else? And so that gives us that unique position of understanding and non-judgment, like Samantha said, where we're equipped to handle this, where people know, hey, I'm not alone. There are people like me. And not only are there people like me, but there's people like me that have come out the other side and they're successful at doing so. And if Joshua can do it, I can do it easy. And so I think that's, it's not commonplace, but it's commonplace at Herron Solutions, where lived experience is vital. And that connection and non-judgment is vital with that clear vision.
So what makes Herron Solutions different from any other program that these individuals have been in? So I know a lot of these individuals that come to us have been in different programs. So what do you feel is the difference? You might have just answered that question. Maybe it is lived experience, but what do you guys feel is the difference here at Herron Solutions?
And what do you hear? What do they share?
I have heard that we're not judgmental. We allow space for people to be who they are. We allow space for people to make their life mistakes. I don't mean allow space for people to use and break the law, but to bump your knee to get that job that you're not sure of, and then to quit it, and then go get another job. We allow people the space to be human, and to make the mistakes and learn from them and to grow on their own without trying to control, belittle, badger. I've also heard that we're always around. They can count on us any time of day. This is not a 9-to-5 job. Like I said, it's not a job, but and then also not so much client comments, but client actions. Former clients giving us that honor, inviting us to huge moments of their lives shows what we've been in their lives.
Are excited to introduce us to their family or invite us to their graduations for like IOP, and just being able to be a part of their accomplishments. It's huge.
Compassion, love, respect. Thank you.
Those are the core values here at Herron Solutions.
Absolutely.
Thank you for representing them well.
Thank you for allowing us to.
Well, as people are hearing about Herron Solutions and the drop-in centers and the transitional living and the opportunities as you grow through Herron Solutions, we do have some availability. We're at capacity. We need therapists. We need CSWs. We need CPSWs. And we're always on the lookout, whether you're maybe working at McDonald's or any other stores. We're always keeping our eyes open for those caring hearts and watching for those caring hearts, because that's what we look for when we look for people to be on our team. We want people to care. And if you're in line at Walmart and you're being ugly to the cashier, and then you come and put an application, you just never know who's watching. Those are the things that we look out for, because if you can't be nice to that cashier who might be having a bad day, how are you going to work with our client who may be having their worst day? So if you are maybe out there listening, you're that person who has a heart for helping people, and that's what we're looking for. We need therapists, we need CPSWs, we need CSWs, because the needs continue to grow. We're referring out on a very regular basis, and unfortunately this is not going to go away anytime soon. But if you would like to join our team, just go to herronsolutions.com. Just give us a phone call to 575-835-4357 or send a text. We are definitely wanting to continue to grow and fill these gaps, but we will continue, and we'll always do it with compassion, love, and respect. Thank you guys for being here today.
Thank you guys. Have a great day.
Thanks.
You too. Thank you.